Hey, Adrian, are we recording?
Yeah, we are this time. Welcome back to Dice to Pixels, episode 22. And we've got a few things to talk about today. We're going to kick it off with Wyrmwood, though. We just watched the latest Worm Life segment. For you, that will have been last night. And they just announced the MGT 2.0 Kickstarter, for starters. We've got opinions on that, as does everyone. And also, they seem to have decided to destroy their company. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But first of all, Chad, how much do you hate them doing Kickstarter?
I hate Kickstarter. I hate Kickstarter so much. I
bring it closer.
Sorry, I've been sick most of the week, so yeah. I'm kind of still.
He's a mumble boy.
I'm a mumble boy. Yeah. No, I hate it. I hate the Kickstarter. We watched that one freaking video when they said that it was going to go straight to their website. So after watching this and finding out like it's going to Kickstarter and they expect to get 5,000 to 7,500 backers for it, there's no flipping way that there's no way.
No. So there's a few things to that. First of all, they're kickstarting the table. They didn't mention pricing, but you can guarantee it's going to be more expensive because, of course, it is. And there's no international backers, just like previously.
Yep.
With the desk, which I think is one of the reasons why the desk didn't fill. And they're also making them shittier. They're doing the finger jointing version, which looked like crap on the desks, instead of doing they are also offering proper long grain toppers, but obviously at a premium. So you can expect that the new tables are going to be more than the original ones. And then you also have to pay a premium to get something as good quality as the ones before. So
makes perfect business sense.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Well, and to be fair, I think it probably does make business sense.
Well, yes, but in terms of the reputation that they've built for themselves, it's a good way to crash it all down.
Yeah. Well, and there's two fundamental problems. They keep talking about how they want to make this like the table for the masses. Like that was its original goal, was like, we have the prophecy. This is going to be the one that people can actually afford. And news alert, people, A, right now can't afford shit. And also B, can't afford, I would bet that the base table for like a normal size table in their cheapest wood, I would bet that it's at least $3,000.
Yeah. Plus they're getting rid of a lot of the woods that they initially offered with the first MGT. So, I mean, looking at a lot of the comments from the video too, it's people that are saying, get this table, it's feature proof. You can always upgrade it later. So if they got a table in like espresso,
yep.
Well, you're not going to be able to, if you buy one now, you know what I mean? Like you're not going to be able to get that.
No.
Yeah. Well, more importantly, if you bought one, if you bought one of the espressos in the first wave, which was their most popular version by far.
Yeah.
It appears that you can just no longer get upgrades to that table, which means that the entire thing was a lie. The entire point of the MGT was like, how many times did Doug say in Worm Life, buy whatever wood you can afford now, and then you can make it bigger in the future by buying the conversion kit. Well, if you're scrapping woods after not even 2 years, then no, that was a lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I would not be touching any Wyrmwood product right now, except for like their accessories and stuff, because those are self-contained. You're like, if you want a dice vault, buy a dice vault.
Yeah.
But any of their furniture stuff, I would be given a huge berth right now. I would not touch it with a 10-foot pole because they clearly can't follow through with a business plan.
No.
And I can't, like I said, expecting to get 5,000 backers on a frigging Kickstarter, like, I don't see it. Like you said earlier, like with a recession happening right now, and a lot of people having a hard time just being able to pay for the stuff they need to like live, or a roof over their heads. I think a modular gaming table is the least of their worries right now.
Yeah, and especially when it's going to be more expensive than it already was. I mean, I get it. Like, I think they did underprice it a little bit the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously inflation has not helped and everything else. So I'm not saying like, oh, they shouldn't increase the price, but they shouldn't be expecting to sell tens of millions of dollars worth of this. Because I would be willing to bet, just knowing how much they like round numbers, I would be willing to bet that they're expecting 5,000 slots at an average price of $3,000 a piece similar to what they did with the desks, and they're expecting this to be a $50 million Kickstarter.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. And if instead they had just put the stuff on their website like they said they would, they would probably have people buying them, well, months ago, but certainly right now.
Like, and they're like, you're not going to get, I mean, it's because it's on, again, and we've touched on this before, it's such a niche thing, right? So, I mean, like, you're not going to, I don't know how sustainable it would be business-wise. Like, if it went up on the website, right? I don't know what the sales would be like through the website as opposed to, well, they'd be the same as the people backing them on Kickstarter, really.
Well, I think just get more.
Yeah. It would be more, like, if they made it available consistently over time, then it would be, as people can afford it, they are buying it then.
Yep.
But the way that they're doing it, it's like pre-ordering, but it's a bad version of pre-ordering.
It's a really bad business plan, what they've done. And I want to, so you said you think it's a niche product, and I think that's true as a whole, but I think it's the best way to put it is like a gaming table is not a niche product. There are tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions people that want a gaming table. Mm-hmm. A $3,000 table, that is a niche product. Mm. So the cross section of that is like a pretty well desired product in a niche. It's like if you could build a $400 gaming table, I bet you'd sell literally millions of them.
Yes.
A $3,000 gaming table, you're going to sell a few thousand.
Mm-hmm. And even nice looking gaming tables like what Wyrmwood have, they're not wholly unique in the market anymore.
No. Because
even the conventions that we've gone to, there's been at least 2 other booths that we've gone to and looked at their tables, and they're pretty similar looking.
I can't even remember what that one company was.
I can't remember what the one is. I have it at home, but it was a nice.
They're from Tennessee, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have their card somewhere because we did talk to them briefly, but I mean, and also people are realizing that it's not that hard to just put something together. Like the magnetic rail is kind of neat, but it's the game vault that, like, the prophecy. The reason I want a prophecy has nothing to do with the magnetic rail and everything to do with the game vault. Specifically the liftable game vault. That's
yes.
So like the magnetic rail is cool, and some people do want it, and it's neat to be able to put your cup holders on the rail and whatever, but that's not worth $3,000. It's the game vault. And like I converted an IKEA table to have a game vault for like $40. So
yeah.
Like when people are already starting to seriously question their budgeting and everything else, or struggling outright, you're going to have a hell of a time selling thousands of dollars worth of tables.
Yeah.
So, and the coffee tables are dumb. Like if you already have another table, and like coffee tables with storage isn't dumb in and of itself, but there are lots of coffee tables with storage that are like $100. You don't need a $750.
No. Yeah. When you come to that, like the design in itself, like Chad and I live in a pretty small house, and like any of their gaming tables, like I don't think any of them would fit into our kitchen. So a coffee table, that like a gaming coffee table would make more sense for a smaller space, but not at that price point.
Not at that price point. That's exactly it. Like I am the sort of person that would have bought one of the coffee tables if it had offered anything that I thought was particularly interesting, because we actually don't have a coffee table. So it'd be a pretty easy to purchase to say like, well, instead of spending $200 or $300 on an IKEA table that's decent, or something similar, I'll spend twice as much and I'll get like an actually nice coffee table. That would have been a fairly easy purchase. But looking at it, it's like, I don't want I don't need a magnetic rail on my coffee table for sure. And having 3 inches of storage in my coffee table isn't enough to be useful.
No.
And we have the little bucket in the couch that we can put game controllers. So it's like, you're not really offering anything.
No.
I'd rather get one of the ones that the top like lifts up and turns into a little desk.
Yeah.
If I was going to do that.
Yeah. No, I think really the 3 inches of space only really works well if you have an ongoing board game.
Yeah. Or
puzzle or something like that, which is fantastic. Yeah. But then like you said, cheaper options.
Yeah. There. I mean, I turned the IKEA one into, we were building Lego and we didn't want the cats to be able to get the Lego in between building sessions. So, $40 piece of hardboard and a little bit of surgery to the IKEA table that we've got that was like $400, and bam, we got a game vault.
Yeah.
So it's hard to justify, and it's harder when people are struggling. And I think they're absolutely fucking insane with what they're doing. And for people who can afford it and everything else, like I won't touch that product because they are cutting the entire promise of the product was future modularity and upgradability. And they just announced that they're killing that part of the product.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not touching it.
And you were also talking about the finger, what was it? Finger, the
finger jointing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the new thing that they're obsessed with is this finger jointed wood, which most people would just call butcher block because that's what it is. And it's just ugly as hell. I don't know of anyone who actually thinks that looks nice. I know lots of people who are like, oh, I like butcher block. It's like, yeah, on your counter, not on your table, which makes it look incredibly cheap and garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like shitty hardwood floor.
Yeah, like really bad hardwood too, because it's like the coloring does not match at all.
No.
Like their desks did not look good.
No. The only things I can think of that have finger jointing are like antiques that were made at a time when wood was probably harder to come by, like during World War I and World War II. And like the items still look nice because they built them well, but you know also what you're getting because it is an older item, and they tried to hide that stuff too.
They often tried to hide it with paint or otherwise. And also you can do finger jointing well. If you on a scale of Wyrmwood, if you just separate your wood scraps into, because that's what they're doing. They're using their wood scraps is actually what they're doing. If you just separate them by like coloration so that they all look similar, you can get away with it because it's like, it doesn't quite match, but it's kind of close. Yeah. They didn't do any of that. They just like, all of this walnut that doesn't match at all, just huck it in a bin and make a table out of it. It's like, no, that's not only is that insulting to your customers, that is just such poor form. Yeah. So anyways, Wyrmwood is just determined to shit the bed, and that's a shame because their accessories, while used to be amazing, I don't know, haven't been very happy with the quality of them lately, to be honest. But the stuff
that you got back in Wisconsin a couple of years, actually last year. Last year. They were pretty solid.
Well, their original dice tray vault, like the whatever they call them. They still make those well, but this, like, I got one of their hex vaults, roll the dice, and I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast or not. I don't think so. Because I think I was intending to make a separate video about it, and I still will at some point. But I got roll the dice vault, and there are a lot of imperfections. Like,
the wood is pretty at a distance.
It's pretty, and it's ebony, which is like they're high. That I think that's the thing that got me. And I'm gonna make a separate video, so I won't go into too much detail. But like it's the most expensive wood they sell, and it's nice. Like I don't hate it, but it is not the kind of quality that they claim to be making.
Yes.
So,
granted, you're also looking at it with a carpenter's eye as well, whereas like me looking at them, it'd just be like, I would notice some of them, but most of the mistakes I will not see.
I am indeed looking at it with a carpenter's eye for sure. I'm also looking at it as a product that, according to their website, they're charging $100+ for. Yeah. Which, like, it's got to be pretty fucking good if you're charging that kind of money for a little hunk of wood with some magnets in it. So, but sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to move away from Wyrmwood, actually, because I think we've shit on them enough.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. In other news, tomorrow, right after this airs, so if you're watching this after it airs, then this is old news. Lord of the Rings RPG is being premiered tomorrow. They're doing the world premiere with a bunch of celebrities around a table. One of the DMs from Acquisitions Incorporated and a handful of people from various movies. They're proper celebrities, not super A-list, but definitely known names.
Yes.
And they're doing a full playthrough Well, a full session, I should say, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. What doc are you guys writing in?
Well, I'm in the podcast doc. That
I created a different one.
Yes, I know. I copied everything over onto that one.
I see.
Yes.
I just saw those two giggling over there, and I was wondering what they were writing.
It's what I was writing.
Of course it was what
big
he
bum
was.
farts is what was being written. But yeah,
Mature adult.
so new RPG, Lord of the Rings, which, I mean, if you're going to make an RPG about something, Lord of the Rings is a good choice.
Yeah.
So I'll probably watch it. Briefly considered doing a live stream, like a watch party.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the rules around that, so I don't really have time to find them out between now and then. So.
I think it's most things that do something like that, they don't
show what they're watching.
Yeah, they don't show what they're watching, and you can't hear the audio, but you can do your talk and discussion.
I might end up going live somewhere tomorrow while it's on, but don't count on it. How about that?
Yeah.
And chances are half of you are watching this well after it aired anyways. So.
Yeah. So what's all this about Facebook AI, Adrian?
Yeah.
You talked a bit about it, during dinner upstairs, but
yeah. So this actually, I meant to talk about this last week. Meta, Facebook, claims that they have created a human quality AI for playing board games, which is complete bullshit. If anyone has sent you that article or otherwise, it is just a straight up lie, a fabrication, and kind of insulting to the entire AI field, if I'm honest. So basically they have an AI that can kind of stumble through a few board games, and they're calling it a human level AI, which is, it's pretty embarrassing. But for a company that just had to lay off like a huge chunk of its workforce because they've invested in the wrong things, I guess it's not that surprising.
So when you say it's like, do you literally mean it stumbles or like?
Well, I'll read this because it's worth reading. So it's called Cicero, and they think it's human level because it can play the game Diplomacy, which is not played according to rules at a table. There are rules, but it's all about negotiating with your fellow players.
Oh, okay.
That's why they think it's a human level AI.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna read one of the exchanges. So this is the Cicero talking, and it says, also, are you able to move Ven Pi to and Apu Ven? These are short forms for places in the game. Don't worry about it. And then Italy, whoever's playing Italy, says, yeah, that's what I'm planning. Cicero comes back and says, I'm not a fan of the move to Venice. Are you planning to hold in Venice? Italy then responds, you suggested that I move to Venice. Do you want to support whatever that country name is this turn or not? And yes, Venice will hold. And then Cicero comes back, oh, in that case, we're all good, and yes, please. Like, there were chatbots 20 years ago that did better than that.
Yeah.
This is embarrassing quality, and this is their human level AI.
Is it a learning AI?
In theory, it's like it learned from past plays of the game, sort of thing. So maybe in 100 years it might be competent.
Okay.
I don't know, but it's like it's embarrassing.
Yeah, stumble is definitely a good descriptor for that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, hey, do you want to do this? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Oh, I don't like that. It's like,
it's a far cry from that Google Assistant that, when was that video from? 2018,
I think?
Yeah.
That was like, that was freaky, but like, holy crap.
The AI that can phone call for you and book appointments and everything.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Actually, so it's on the AI front. It's not board game related, but OpenAI just released their new version of their chatbot. And the Twitter sphere is a storm with people posting various replies that it's given. It's pretty cool. It can reply to a bunch of things in really interesting ways. A lot of it is very technical, so you can ask it like what's wrong with certain pieces of code or something, and it will like pretty much give you a good answer. But the fun thing is that you can be like, what's wrong with this code? Please phrase your answer as Romeo from Shakespeare, and it will put it in prose for you.
That's amazing. That level of specificity is quite amusing.
There's a bunch of examples of people pulling really weird shit, and it coming back with like a convincing rendition of fictional character X or real person X.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time trying to get through this one level of the game. What should I do? Get good, scrub.
Yeah, please phrase all of your answers in Dr. Disrespect.
That's right.
Yeah, it does not do anything related to board games, or honestly, most things. It's very like technical in nature right now. Obviously, that's because that's what they trained it on, and because those are some of the hardest questions to answer. So it's a good learning space for AI in general, or machine learning. But it is very fun that you can like ask it to, give it to you as, I don't know, King Louis III or something like that. And if there is enough historical text about somebody, it will do its very best to give you an accurate rendition of what they might have sounded like saying it. So
all you have to do is drive up Highway 11 to get to North Bay.
That's right. I think it's called Chat GPD or something like that. It's from OpenAI if you want to check it out, or just literally open Twitter and it will be in your feed.
Yeah, right. If you still use Twitter.
I do. I've been using it more and more lately.
Yeah, I like it.
So Facebook AI, if somebody sends it to you, just ignore it. It's absolute nonsense. So
it's funny because whenever I hear the Cicero, I think of the jester from Skyrim in the what was it, they were like the murder cult or something, the Assassinations Guild.
Yeah.
So
the jester is probably more appropriate.
The 1D&D stuff, I honestly don't know what's been added because I've been just out of it this week.
I think I've kept seeing articles about clerics.
I actually did not.
Oh, is this the Unearthed Arcana stuff, isn't it?
Yes, and it is Unearthed Arcana. It is labeled as Unearthed Arcana, but what it really is basically more of the 1D&D rules sort of being released ahead of time. So it's a basically what they did was they released some stuff earlier, and they've gotten feedback, and they've looked at the feedback, and they've made some changes, and also they're releasing a bit more new stuff along with it. So Life Domain Clerics had some updates that I actually didn't get a chance to watch, which is a shame because I actually played a Life Domain Cleric for quite a while. So I will look at that. But basically, if you're curious about what's happening with 1D&D, or if you follow Unearthed Arcana, check it out. There's a bunch of it just dropped yesterday, I believe. So worth the read/watch. They did videos about all of it. They also obviously released some Unearthed Arcana in text. And they proved that they're listening to feedback. So if you had any doubts about them, listening to viewer feedback or player feedback, that's been answered. So it's definitely worth a look.
Yeah, same with the changing the whole race into species things. I just...
I mean, I know why they did it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own opinions about that kind of stuff. I think it's kind of silly, but whatever. If it makes people feel better about playing it, great.
We talked about like before, like just I know I'm getting kind of like, I used to buy like every book. Like I would buy every book and I would read every book. And the Dragon Horde, I think it's Dragonlance comes out on Tuesday. And there's part of me that like wants to get it, but it's not one. It's one of those things where it's just like, whatever. Like
so this is, I don't know if this is something that's new or if everybody that I know is kind of just getting burned out at the same time, except Devin, who will never get burned out on lore.
Nope.
No.
But it's kind of like Marvel. So Marvel, and this is, I've talked to many people, and this is a pretty common feeling. After Endgame, Marvel lost everybody, or a lot of people, not obviously everybody, because they were like, okay, in the next phase of Marvel, we're going to have 14 movies and 84 miniseries. And it's like, fuck off. I'm not watching that much stuff to try and keep up with your story.
It's like, welcome to comic book.
Yeah, it's like, no, go to hell. Give me 3 movies a year and we'll talk. Not like literally 10 hours a day of videos to watch. And I feel like D&D is starting to feel that way.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's a fair assessment because I don't know that the number of lore releases has actually gone up.
Yeah.
But to me, at least, it certainly feels like that.
I think because it's hit the pop, like mainstream so much, we see it everywhere now.
Yeah.
Just based on what our interests are, that we see it so much that we're inundated and we're just, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like in order to keep up with the lore of the official D&D world would be nearly a full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why just creating a world is so much better.
Yeah. I mean, it's always been the way that I went, and I think it's superior. But at the same time, I totally respect, like, if you're into the lore, I'm not judging. We're not judging. It's just that I think it's sort of the Marvel syndrome where it's just, oh, another fucking book I have to read and know what you've changed. And maybe that's it, is that, and again, this might not be fair because, as I've said, I'm not steeped in D&D lore all that much, but I feel like they've like retconned more and more as well. I feel like they're doing a lot more retconning of things than they used to.
They did that with the dragons and fizz bands.
Yeah.
They completely like changed their whole background and backstory and everything. So
yeah. And so you end up in this situation where it's like, well, are we talking about the post fizz bands or the pre fizz bands? Are we talking about like after Xanathars or before Xanathars? And I'm not sure that that's necessarily new, but it definitely complicates things.
Yeah. I think that's basically what you get with anything with a large and robust backstory lore type thing, because even like with World of Warcraft, when I was heavily into it during Wrath of the Lich King, during spare periods in college, I would go and I would read lore because I was obsessed with it at that time. But then now when I go in and I play the game, because I have not kept up with all of that lore, I barely know what's going on with anything there. And then things that I did know have changed so drastically but yeah, it's so you get that with really anything, like
I think that's
large.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the other half of that, though, that I want to, throw out there, because I feel like I've been sort of negative about D&D lore. The other half of that is that I still think the source materials are incredibly valuable for some things, even if you don't do so much with the lore, because, wizards can playtest a class about 1 million times as well as I can. So if I'm looking for a spell or something, I'm very hesitant to make that myself, because the balance of that is very hard to get right. And I'm not saying Wizards always gets it right, because they don't, but they'll do a better job than I will. Yeah. So like lore, that's the Wild West for me. That like I'll make my own lore because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like it matters, but it doesn't matter if it's like balanced, because what's balanced lore? But like classes and subclasses and like spells and stuff, absolutely 100%. I use the D&D source books for that, because I don't want to end up with one person at the table that's 8,000 times as powerful as I intended, even though that sometimes still happens with the source books.
I think even with all the lore that's available, that the knowledge that it's all there is a hindrance for some people coming in, because they're like, I know nothing about this world. Excuse me, how am I supposed to come into this and play it? Whereas if you're just building your own sandbox play world or whatever, you guys as a group, you're all making the lore together. Yeah,
well, and you have direct access to the authors.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, it's easier to play in something like that, because I know that was something that you were worried about going into it, was not knowing the background with or how to play D&D at all. And
that's why I read everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas if we had just started right away with our own world, it wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. And by no means am I a pro, but like I didn't want to seem like an idiot where I went in there and, like, oh, what's this? I had a general, like I had a basic knowledge of it, but I wanted to read up on, a few things. And even, like talking with Devin about some stuff, like me and him would talk about stuff, like even at the table in a previous life, we would talk about, like, we would just be talking about shit. Like, just because, like, one, I wanted to know, and two, like, he is a fountain of knowledge when it comes to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
and I do find the D&D lore interesting.
Yeah.
It's just that there's too much. I think exactly what you said. It's one of those things where if you have to at some level decide that you don't care, because if you actually decide that you care about the D&D lore and that it actually matters to you, then good luck, because you've got about 40, 50 years worth of material to read, because it even predates the actual release of D&D.
Yeah.
So good luck.
Yeah. Plus there's like so much history and lore for different regions, like of northern and southern areas, and then the interiors that you don't even see on the Sword Coast map at all.
Yeah.
It'd be like someone coming into planet Earth and trying to learn everything about all of the societies in order to integrate themselves in there. It's it's crazy.
And so at some level, like, you have to choose to draw the line somewhere, because you're not going to learn all of it.
No.
And so then it's just a matter of where you draw the line. And I decided pretty early on that my line is, if somebody wants to do lore, great, I'm on board, but I'm not going to be the one to say, like, hey, we're running in the Sword Coast, because I don't know it well enough. And I don't want to be the guy at the table, especially as the DM, who doesn't know the lore as well as other people. And I refuse to spend the 4 months of reading that it would take to bring myself up to speed on the Sword Coast.
Yeah.
I'd rather just spend that 4 months making a world.
Yep.
So
hell yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting though, and by all means, I think still the source books can be great for inspiration.
Yes,
if not,
for sure.
Classes, spells, stuff like that, and just inspiration. Like there are so many of the books that it's like, well, I'm not going to run this in the world that they presented, but I'm going to take the exact same story beats and just put them in my world.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. I mean, a lot of people do that to begin with, or they'll take those story beats and then they'll take something from a movie and then from novels and just make their own little.
And everyone at Wizards is fully aware of that. It's not, we're not saying anything controversial or groundbreaking here. They know damn well that's how people use their stuff. They encourage it too. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Jeremy Crawford has many times said, like, this is a starting point.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and they know too, if they have people that are so impassioned with building their own world and they become excellent writers, that's someone that they can
absolutely
help develop their world as well. So.
And they will acquire that, like Acquisitions Incorporated, for instance, like
and Critical Role.
That's just a whole nother world that they can bring into their umbrella.
Yep.
So
Hell yeah.
Chad, why don't you take us through something here?
Yeah, so PlayStation announced their PS Plus free games for December, and it's actually a good month. It's actually a really good month. Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, which is a compilation, a collection of the first 3 Mass Effect games. Mass Effect 1 has been slightly redone, I believe, for because they wanted to. When Mass Effect 1 and 2 came out, they improved on a lot of things with 2 that weren't in 1. So I think they've incorporated a lot of those elements into a remake version of 1. But yeah, that trilogy is a freebie. So if you're a PS Plus member, boom, there's 3 amazing games, like right off the hop, that you get for free. I know a lot of people have already played them, but still, they're a great series of games. Biomutant, which I kind of knew that was going to happen. This was one that released earlier in the year. It's your typical open world kind of stealth crafting, hack and slash RPG kind of business. Their whole thing was about you create your mutant, your little rodent character, and however you have your stats. So if you're strength, your character's going to be like big and brawny and stuff. And if he's slender, kind of skinny and shit. But so yeah, that one. And then this new game called DKO, which from what I've seen is basically a third person platform fighting game. So kind of like Smash Brothers, I guess, I'm assuming. It looks interesting. It's debuting on PlayStation Plus. So a lot of the times when they've debuted a new game like this, they tend to do well. I look at Rocket League and Fall Guys, and
Yep.
Yeah.
so, and they were free when they first initially released. So
Hang on. Are you saying that Rocket League was successful?
yeah, I guess.
What?
So yeah, those
Shocking.
so those should be good. They should be fun. This should be a good month for PS Plus users anyway.
Maybe I'll finally actually play Mass Effect.
I know, I'm in the same boat
I
too.
probably won't,
Yeah.
but maybe I'll finally play Mass Effect.
That would require you to have time.
And a fair bit, because they're not
Yeah, they're
like
not
playing
short.
3 Mass Effect games is not a small undertaking.
No.
So,
Yeah.
You're looking at like 40 plus hours for each one.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah, and then like just being sick as a friggin' dog this week. Like, oh man, I was bedridden since freaking Sunday.
Yeah.
So I did quite a fair bit of gaming. I as I said last week, I finished Ragnarok, God of War Ragnarok. So looking for something on PlayStation, I just ended up re-downloading Ghost of Tsushima, and I started doing the Icky Island expansion. More of the same. They've added like this extra element where your character's hallucinating, and so it's trippy. I don't want to spoil stuff because it's fun to experience, and Ghost of Tsushima should be experienced. If you're a PlayStation owner and you haven't played it, man, what's wrong with you? Get out there and get it.
Hey, shots fired.
Yeah, really.
So yeah, I dabbled in that, and then I got another one yesterday called Sword of the Vagrant, and it's like a 2D Metroidvania hack and slash. Initially, it reminded me of a game like Dust, which has like beautiful watercolored hand-drawn graphics and all that. Then I started the game up, and holy crap, the women are very overly sexualized.
Yeah. Just
All
a
of
little.
them.
Like,
All of them.
like it's ridiculous. Like the main character, for example, is wearing a bikini and chaps.
Well, like I said, unrealistic body types are worth 14 base AC. So
Exactly, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You don't have to be wearing as much
Yeah.
armor.
So yeah, I've been dabbling with that, and I picked up 2 games pretty cheap on the Switch. One of them was called Eiyuden Chronicles. I can't remember the subtitle for it, but it's again the same thing, a 2D kind of hack and slashy Metroidvania thing.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
Yeah, I like my Metroidvanias.
Yeah, a little bit.
And my 2D games. The one thing I'm finding though about playing this style of game on the Switch, and I found it with a Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, playing them on the Switch sucks because like it just doesn't have the hardware behind it to like, because if you so with Bloodstained, if you play that on the PlayStation 4 or the PS5, it's smooth as butter. It's amazing. It flows great. There's no clipping or slowdown or anything. And the same game playing it on the Switch is like terrible because it fucking stutters along and just, I don't know if it's the display or if it's...
That's weird because of all the things to run, you'd think that would be one of the easiest to get right.
Yeah.
So probably just a really poor port. Like just not a good job.
Yeah.
Wow, it sounds like we need a Steam Deck.
Yeah, well, hey, speaking of, the Game Awards are coming up on December 8th.
The Steam Game Awards, by the way.
No, the Game Awards, the Jeff Keighley show.
Oh, it's all of
The
it?
Game Awards.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So it's streaming on December 8th, but Valve will be giving away a 512 gigabyte Steam Deck every minute during the show. They have a link in a tweet, I believe, that they put out. And if
you can just go to their website.
You click on it, you go on the website, pre-register, and then watch it. It starts 7:30 p.m. Eastern on December 8th, and you might be lucky and win a Steam Deck.
Ooh.
So,
you can just, it's on their website, Steam powered. Just check it out there. You can register right there and also set a reminder.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll be watching it. We're going to see if we can win 3 Steam Decks, even though I already have one.
Ooh, and then we'll not do a giveaway because we're going to use them. It's like, come on.
No, hey, if we win 3 Steam Decks, I will happily do it. I will happily give one of them away.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't need 2 Steam Decks.
Oh,
What if
about
you and
Danielle?
She doesn't need a Steam Deck.
Wow.
By the way, if we win the lottery, we'll no, we're not going to win 3 Steam Decks.
Says you.
Moving back from video games for a minute. The 3D printed stackable board game that I found just earlier today is super cool.
Cool.
So this is, to be clear, This is not the first 3D printable board game. It is not the first 3D printed stacking game, but it's the first one that I've heard of that is designed to be 3D stackable. I'm not even going to try and tell you the name or anything else. It's in the description. Go look for it there. But it is a grouping of STL files that are specifically meant, for you to print and play it at home. And it's one of the games that, you have a little bit of a base and then you stack things up and out, and the first person to like knock it over loses. It's basically Jenga, except cooler. So if you've got a 3D printer and feel like wasting some filament, I'm going to be printing a copy of it and we'll try it out.
Play it. Yeah, we'll play it. I like games like that.
Yeah, I like that style of game. And of course, like I said, like people on Thingiverse have like, you can find other printable versions of games, but this is the first one that I've seen that like the actual author of the game was like, I am making a game to 3D print. Here it is.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool. So
Is it a free STL?
That I'm not sure.
Okay.
I think it is, but I don't know because I only read so far in the article before I just ended up looking at the pictures and going to, I just bookmarked it for later because I'm just going to buy it. But if it costs money, I'll throw the price in the description.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't cost money, go get it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. It's a fun game. It's going to be a fun game.
Yeah. I mean, it certainly looked cool. Right. So,
speaking of fun games.
Fun games?
Yeah.
What other fun games? Doggo games?
What were those again?
So study was done, is being done, is first phase of study maybe wrapped up. That dogs, elderly dogs,
Me.
can be, I don't know what the right wording for this is, but basically it's good for older dogs to play games, to play video games.
Oh.
Yeah, so they made a special game for dogs to play, and they basically had older dogs play it, and it helped, as you would expect, it helped with motor coordination and just generally probably kept them in a good mood, and just exactly like it does with humans. Nothing crazy, but so if you've got an aging dog, I'll link to it in the description, the study. I don't think that you can get the game that they're testing. So not yet. I'm sure you will be able to.
Yeah.
They made a custom doggo game that makes older dogs have a better time, which I think is great.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still puppies at heart. It's just their joints are not happy anymore. Yeah.
Which is basically Chad and
Yeah.
Oh, Muffin.
I'm surprised you probably already downloaded it.
Well, what did you think?
It's at home waiting for you.
Yeah, what did you think you were playing all week?
I can't wait.
Want to go for a walk, bud?
Yeah, I want to go for a walk.
On the note of pet games, I finally played through Stray. And I enjoyed it. It was fun. Not that I'm the first person to enjoy the game by any means, but it's super cute. I really enjoyed it. You guys obviously played it much earlier. But it's a bit timely. And actually, this is why I went and got the game and played it, because somebody, YouTuber who I should know the name of, let me see if I can look it up while I'm talking about this, basically did the math. And based on the speed that the cat walks during the game, and I'm not going to spoil anything, I don't think here, especially since it's been out for a little while. Based on backtracking and the speed that the cat can walk, they sort of mapped out the distance that the entire game took place, and essentially, I would say, proved that the cat that you play managed to find its way back home to its friends at the end.
SDK?
SDK, maybe. What's the title of the video?
Stray's True Ending, Meow Discovered.
Yeah, I think that's it. Right. Yeah, NDK. I'm sure I can post a link to that in the description as well if you want to check it out. Yep. If you've played Stray, if you haven't played Stray, I would recommend waiting on that, because there are some hard spoilers in that video for the game.
Okay.
But if you played it, check it out. Or if you don't plan to play it, check it out.
Or if you just don't care.
Or if you don't care.
Then don't check it out.
Yeah.
No, I meant just if you don't care about spoilers, but if you don't care about the game at all,
Check it out.
shame on you.
We need to like make a chart here of check it out, don't check it out. If you care, don't care, don't care, don't care. Yeah. So anyways, that was heartwarming to see somebody do the math on that. And
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's cute.
Because I remember when we first discussed it, Chad, that was one of the things that Chad was
grumpy
very
about.
upset about. Was
Yeah.
not knowing, well, granted,
And-
I was as well when I watched that part
Yeah.
too, and I'm like,
And incidentally, sort of out of that came, I don't think he mentioned it in the video. I think it was one of the comments that I read. But somebody said, and it's true, I checked it when I was playing through. There is also a butterfly that appears at the very beginning of the game and then again at the very end of the game, which I think was the dev's way of saying like, yeah, we did make it home.
Yeah.
But I like how they left it ambiguous,
Yeah.
and then somebody literally did the math to answer the question. I
Yeah.
think that's great. So
Yeah. Now that we've spoiled the ending for you.
I don't think we spoiled the ending.
oh, I
Oh.
had to look it up because why not? Because one of my best friends, she writes very well. She writes a lot of fan fiction for different things, and so there's oftentimes, like comics and TV shows and whatever that don't have endings that people like. So fanfic, comes out with not necessarily like the sexy stuff, but like just an ending that people want. There's stray fanfic.
Oh yeah, no, I knew that. Yeah,
I didn't. I was like, I wonder. And there's on Archive of Our Own, there's 164 works.
Oh, that's more than I expected.
Yeah.
I know that there are some YouTube videos about the true ending of Stray as well, which I only watched one or two of them, but a couple of them are amusing. I'm not going to say what those are about because that actually does spoil the game to some degree. But suffice it to say, the ending with your partner, there's some interesting sort of what really happened there. Your little buddy that you play throughout the game with. There's some like, what was the real motive there? I don't want to say any more than that in case you haven't played it because that legitimately would kind of spoil the game. But yeah, if you've played it and are curious, there are definitely some alternate endings out there. Not even really alternate, just alternate interpretations.
Okay.
So,
Interpretations.
which are the best kind of interpretations?
As the cat made its way up the stairs, it looked back on its adventure through the sewers before an angry dog came and bit its head off.
Oh,
I'm sure there are those too.
Yum yum.
Yeah, no. I'm expecting any day now for somebody to release a mod for the PC version that just like turns it into a loop. So like add a cutscene that takes you from the end back to the beginning and then just because why would you not do that, right?
that just makes me think of Cube, the movie Cube.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we have anything more on our list of things.
Well, there's the World of Warcraft new
we
expansion came out this week.
Tell us about it.
I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Ugh.
Other than the fact that it's
Well, you know the name.
Dragonflight.
There you go.
And I know it centers around
Bears.
Yes.
Correct.
Fucking nailed it.
It focuses around the different dragon flights, obviously. So the red, green,
Black.
gold, and black.
Yeah.
And blue. Yes.
And turquoise. And chartreuse.
Yes.
And don't forget the
I mean, technically that is right in some ways because
Yeah.
of Burning Crusade.
That's
so
true.
yeah.
Yeah. So you said you could play as a sort of I don't know, dragon human hybrid, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah. There's a new race, a humanoid dragon type thing, and I think you do have flight capabilities. I think it's a little bit like the Worgen, where you're able to train with them. You're able to go from human to like werewolf type thing. I think with this one you do humanoid and then like more of an actual dragon.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
It'd be. I think there would be some revolt if that wasn't the case.
Yeah. So.
That's cool. I don't think any of us plan to really check it out though, because it just takes too much time.
Yeah. No. Maybe when it gets cheap. and I feel like, and I'm not as obsessed with Grounded as I am right now.
That's right, because the expansions cost a fair bit too, don't they?
Yeah.
They're like $80, and then still you have got to pay the monthly. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, okay, then I definitely won't be checking it out.
No,
that's just not. I wouldn't get anything out of it.
Exactly.
But if you're a WoW fan, let us know.
Yeah.
Because I actually am curious if it's a good expansion.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have time to sink into WoW right now.
Yeah. And I never will.
Yeah.
You were never a WoW player to begin with, though.
No.
Sarah and I both played a ton of WoW.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't, I don't have the time for that anymore.
I mean, you literally have to relearn how to play the game now at this point.
Also, yes, big
Yeah.
time. Yeah. So.
How goes your spider slaying?
I can't stop playing Grounded, everyone. I can't stop.
Yeah, I signed in briefly as well. We still need to play multiplayer.
I know. I want to so bad.
Yeah. We should just set up a time after we're done filming. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
I liked it too. I was a big fan. I didn't get to any spiders. So I'm still going to try and record my first interaction with spiders. But I played around a little bit and it's super fun.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed what I did play of it. So even if it confused the shit out of me for the first few minutes.
Yeah, I think if you've ever played something like Subnautica or even Minecraft,
yeah,
there's some parallels there, especially with Subnautica.
So specifically what confused me, and this is just me being a bit of an idiot and not reading, when you get to the first little hut with your scientific instruments, this is like 30 seconds of the game. I'm not spoiling
not a spoiler
anything.
at all.
It tells you to like use the analyzer to inspect like a couple different things.
Yep.
I didn't catch that it only has 3 charges and then it takes a minute to recharge.
Yeah.
So I just did it like in order in my inventory and I didn't do the pebble, which is one of the ones that so he kept saying like you should find scientific equipment and then inspect pebble, and I'm like, the fuck are you doing? I'm right here. Why? Yeah. And then finally I actually read the damn screen. It's like, oh, it's waiting for a charge.
Yeah, I did that at first too. Not necessarily like I did inspect the pebble right away, but I had like 3 other things to inspect after that. And I'm like, why can't I do this anymore? Yeah. And then I noticed the battery charge was dead.
Yeah. So that was just being silly. But yeah, that took me a good like 5 minutes to figure out. Yeah. So if you start and you're confused, it has charges, wait 2 minutes and then you can check things. But yeah, we should totally play it. It's a cool game. I highly recommend it. I've only played a little bit of it, but I mean, the premise is exactly what it said on the tin. Yeah. You're super tiny and you're in your backyard and it's crazy cool.
And there is a giant Oreo.
Oh, there is?
There is.
Oh, that's fun. Can you tunnel into it? They should make it.
I don't know. I know you can smash the hell out of it and take bits of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Spoilers.
Oh my goodness.
It looks super, super cool. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. And I know that the crafting goes a lot, like quite deep. Yeah. And I haven't even scratched the surface. So I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah. I discovered like I have grass walls and everything like that. And then last night I didn't even know it was an option. I hadn't heard of it before, but you can make bricks out of mushroom slurry now. I have that capability. Cool. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's fun as a single player game. I can only imagine how much more fun it is with people.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely do some multiplayer. I will set a time, and then at some point, I think I might even record some of it, and maybe we'll post it. We'll see if it's any good. But yeah, Grounded, great game so far. I really enjoyed it. I grabbed Grounded and tried it out. I grabbed Stray because I was trying to figure out what my like favorite game of the year is so far. And still more Escape. No, it's actually incremental Epic Hero 2.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing that way too much. And not just leaving it running, I've been actively playing it too. So
wow.
Right on.
I'm a nerd.
Right on.
Just a little bit.
Don't tell my parents.
Well, I'd say we end on this because last week when we were done filming, thanks to a nice little conversation in our Discord, we were all basically dying of laughter. And from all of us here at Dice to Pixels, we'd like to congratulate you, Massey, for the title of Established Dominance. in our Discord server.
That's right. Yeah. Reached level 2.
So
Absolutely killing it.
congratulations, Massey. You
Yeah.
deserve it.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Sarah and I both managed to level up on him immediately afterwards, which was a fluke. It was quite the exchange. But yeah, congratulations, Massey. Welcome to the club. And cool. We'll call it there. I think we're gonna film right after this. I think we're gonna film just a couple of quick short pieces to throw out on the channel. Let us know. We're going to start these shorts that we put out. I think I'm going to hide them from subscribers, like not put them on the feed so you don't get notifications. Just because I don't want to like spam people. But we'll see what they end up being. If they're compelling, we'll put them out. But let us know if you want to see that stuff. If you want to see like just short snippets of stuff in addition to this, let us know, because I'm just guessing. So with that said, hit that like button unless you've already hit it, and then don't.
Right.
Subscribe if you haven't, which you probably have. And fuck Wyrmwood. No.
No, it's fuck Sony.
Yeah, fuck Sony. Let's piss off everybody.
Yep.
No, I hope Wyrmwood gets its shit together. And we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much, everyone. We love you.
Have a nice day.
Bye.